A second one, kind of closely related, is making sure the activities are meaningful. So like if you're doing math, for example, maybe use catalogs of different toys that they might want for their birthday or the holidays, and have them add up how much it is and have them see how much money they can spend, and they can subtract the decimals, or they can just add up little small amounts using real money. They can buy little things to play with in class using real activities for math, bus schedules for the time, postcards. We had one little girl who was fully included in kindergarten, was really smart, but she was writing stars all over her paper. And so her teacher, who happened to be a friend of mine, said, can you come in? She won't do any of the handwriting activities, the penmanship. I don't know what to do. She just keeps writing stars all over her paper. So I went in and since she was a friend, I could tell her that, if I look around the class, all the kids are squirming a little bit, and they're not seeming like they're having too much fun. She's kind of letting you know, but maybe we could do some postcards and have the kids write to like grandma or aunt, or write for a free thing, or write just a postcard to somebody. And then they're going to learn a lot of practical things. They're going to learn where the address goes, where the stamp goes. They can go to the post office, although most people email these days, but I guess you still have to know how to mail a letter. And it kind of reminded me that we have these manuals that we have written, these how-to manuals that we sell. And we always have an adult on the autism spectrum mail them all out. And one day we had like an order of like 50 manuals, and, he addressed them all and everything. We have him put the names in the computer, and he put all the addresses and the return addresses. And a couple days later, they all got returned. And what happened is he had put all the return addresses where the address goes, and the address where the return goes. He never had learned where to put him. We just kind of assumed that he knew the return address goes up there. So when you're using these practical activities, you get a lot of better learning that's more useful in real life. And then, like I said, scavenger hunts for reading. You can do scavenger hunts and have them read all these clues to get to a favorite thing. When we talk about this pivotal area of motivation, think about this, is that we're using specific techniques to change whatever it is, the teaching situation. So it could be teaching language or teaching academics. And we see all these collateral gains in untreated areas. So even though in some of our publication it doesn't explicitly say this, we're not targeting disruptive behavior at all. That's a collateral gain, that the disruptive behavior goes down. And we've published 2 studies now that actually looked specifically at the disruptive behavior. One was a study that Bob and I published with Alan Surratt, where we tried to these motivational techniques in the language intervention, and we measured their disruptive behavior, and that went down without even us having to target it. No special behavior management plans, nothing. It either went down, way down, or eliminated. And same thing with another study we did. It was a group randomized clinical trial study where we actually did in the schools, and we focused on language development, and the kids, we took data on their disruptive behavior, and that was just a nice collateral gain because we didn't focus on that at all, and it decreased. The other thing I want you to take a look at is the affect. We're not teaching kids how to smile and how to do eye contact and how to do all those, interests, how to be interested in the academic. That's a nice collateral gain. So we have these affect scales that are like 0 to 5. So 0 to 1 is low affect, where they're trying to get away, trying to get out of the task. And then the 0 to 1, 2 to 3 is where they're okay. They'll do the task, but they don't like it. And then 4 and 5 is where they're smiling and really interested and like the activity. And that's what's going to make the big difference. We're seeing when we put in these motivational components into the academics, the kids are smiling. And think about it, when you do something, or any child or adult or adolescent, when you're having fun doing it, you're going to want to be in that situation a lot more. If you're getting scored with a 0 or a 1 and you don't like it and you're trying to avoid it like she was, right? That's a 0 or 1. That's probably a 0. She does not want to do the activity. Then you're not going to just do that on your own. You're not going to start talking on your own and start engaging and start You're trying to avoid the whole situation. So we have these other collateral benefits of just really making a difference for just using these motivational components in the intervention. So moving on, another antecedent intervention that actually my sister Lynn Kern has published on is just simply incorporating the kids' names into the activities. So she had a study in inner city Philadelphia where the kids had really low homework return and they were adolescents. And what she did is she just took the behavior, the homework, and instead of saying just random names, that came with the assignment, she put their own names into it and it increased it like 50% with their homework return. So that's just a simple way with computers. It's so easy just to search and replace. Putting kids from the class's name in it, even if it's the same assignment, will make a big difference and help the kids respond more. So priming is something that we've done for many years. Priming is when the procedure where the child's exposed to the academic materials in advance. This is really a nice way to do homeschool coordination. And we found that we started this area of research with this one little guy. He was in kindergarten and he had a lot of disruptive behaviors. He was fully included, and when they did the circle time, he really had a lot of disruptive behaviors. And so we weren't really exactly sure what to do, but we noticed every once in a while he was just a perfect angel. And then he'd go back to his disruptive behavior. So once we got at a parent-teacher conference, we realized that when he didn't have the disruptive behavior, it was when they were reading a story that he had at home. And so one of our grad students, it was summertime and her lease was up. And so she said, this family said, we have an extra room if you can stay there for the summer for free if you help us with childcare. So it was great because she needed a place to live and he needed some childcare. So we set up a study that was a double-blind study, and we had her some nights read the book that was going to be read the next day in class, and some days read the book that was a different book. And every single time we read the same book the night before, he had no disruptive behavior. And every time we read a different book, he had a lot of disruptive behavior. Nobody knew except her. The teacher didn't know. The data recorders didn't know. So it was double blind and it was consistent. So when he was familiar with the story, he had no disruptive behavior. So we published a couple studies on this showing that it reduces avoidance and escape behaviors, improves on-task responding. So when we asked them questions about the story, they could answer more. It improved their socialization, their initiations, and their overall behavior.